If you had to guess, one of the most important ingredients in creating a healthy relationship, and when I say relationship, I mean with any person, parent-child, sibling relationships, maybe best friend, a spouse or partner. You tell me, just call out a few. What do you think are the most important characteristics that a relationship must have in order to be positive and productive? Ooh, wow. First of all, I heard right at the start, I heard trust at the start, respect, what else? Love, kindness, honesty, compromise. Compromise. Ooh, did someone say silence? Oh, diamonds. And Shabbat Shalom. First, I was impressed with silence, but I was really impressed with diamonds. That one. Oh, the sermon's just not going to be good enough now. So thousands of experts give this kind of advice. But after rereading the Parsha, I was pleasantly surprised to see that, yes, even in this week, there's relationship advice given in the Torah. So let me remind you about the opening. 3 strangers come to visit Sarah and Abraham. You remember that we later learned that the strangers are actually angels. They're messengers of God. And the messengers tell Abraham that even though Sarah, as we heard both Noah and Seth explain, Sarah is well past the days of childbearing, she's going to have a baby. But in response, and Seth, you and I were very aligned in our Divrei Torah this morning. In response to hearing this news, what does Sarah do? She laughs. You're exactly right. She's so shocked that after all of these years, she's finally going to have a child. Now, maybe she laughs in disbelief, or maybe she laughs from sheer joy. But somehow, either way, because she laughs, God's offended. So God says to Abraham, why would Sarah laugh? Is there really anything too wondrous for God? But here is the conversation I want us to focus on. Sarah lies. Maybe she's scared, but she says to Abraham, no, Abraham, I didn't laugh. And Abraham looks right back at her and says, no, Sarah, you did. Now, the relationship advice that I want to offer this morning is not brutal honesty, because I don't think Abraham was trying to shame Sarah into telling the truth. So please don't go home and tell your loved one or your friend or your parent. Rabbi Guzik said this morning, we have to point out exactly when and where someone else does something wrong, when you do something wrong. I didn't say that. Rather, what I think is happening in the Torah reading this morning is that Abraham was showing us, was pointing out to us how well he knew Sarah, how connected he was to her inner thoughts, desires, dreams, and ambitions. Because remember, the text doesn't just say that Sarah laughs, the text says that Sarah laughs to herself. So that even when Sarah laughs to herself, Abraham felt her laugh. He felt her excitement, anticipation, enthusiasm, anxiety, and nerves. And then when she claims she didn't feel anything at all, maybe because she was just too scared to admit out loud that she was having a baby, that her dream was even a possibility. When she denied she was having that feeling, Abraham reminds her, Sarah, I know you just as well as you know yourself. So you can be scared and nervous, be all of this. But Sarah, please laugh. And don't ever hide who you are and what you want. Abraham and Sarah are symbolic of what is called in psychology attunement. Dr. Dan Ziegler, clinical professor of psychiatry at UCLA, explains, attunement is the reactiveness we have to another person. It is the exact process by which we form relationships. He says, when we attune with others, we allow our own internal state to shift, to come to resonate with the inner world of another. This resonance is at the heart of the important sense of feeling felt that emerges in close relationships. But let me put it in another way. Whether it's a parent or close friend or partner, do you have someone, or has there been someone where you've said to yourself after a conversation, wow, they just get me? Or you know what, they really know me better sometimes than I know myself. But that kind of feeling felt, it doesn't just happen by spending time together. Feeling felt or attunement is an intentional practice that takes place when a person makes a conscious effort to make emotional space for another human being. Instead of spending time trying to fix their problems, instead of trying to compare our own feelings to their own, an essential factor in healthy relationships is actively working to understand that human being, not ignoring ourselves or our own needs, but making room and making space for true connection to take shape, knowing the person's patterns and rhythms, emotions, reactions. Think about it for a parent. Attunement is knowing that when a child is having a tantrum, screaming on the floor, we don't take it personally, but we realize that child is probably hungry or very tired. It happens in adults as well. But sometimes for a friend, attunement might be looking at a best friend's face and just knowing by glancing at them, something's off, something's wrong. And then responding in a way that shows that person, look, I may not understand exactly what's happening in this moment, but right now I am going to make the space for you to be you. It's telling those for whom we care deeply, I want nothing more and nothing less than to be present for you. And I think the Torah is so remarkable because when we see this exchange between Abraham and Sarah, Abraham reacts to Sarah in a way that teaches all of us. Find someone in your life that knows you so well that they can see when you're not even being truthful to yourself. Rabbi Adin Steinsaltz explains that Abraham and Sarah are the only couple in the Torah to be listed as a couple. Repeatedly, we see the words in the Torah, Abraham and Sarah. Steinsaltz says that no other patriarch and matriarch are listed in the exact same way, meaning we must look at this pair as a unit, as a team, not as separate entities, but rather as partners that experience both the joys and sorrows that life offers. I always look at the Torah as a mirror as which to glean wisdom. And so this morning, I think we are encouraged to engage in relationships in which we seek the same, loving, compassionate, meaningful connections with other human beings. Now, I am in no way saying that Abraham and Sarah's relationship was perfect, because this is a complicated and messy relationship. In this exact same Torah portion, we see God telling Abraham to take his son Isaac to be sacrificed. Now we know that God intervenes in the last moment, but I can't even begin to imagine the breakfast conversation between Abraham and Sarah that morning. But the Torah doesn't expect perfection. The Torah expects us to be vulnerable and to make room in our hearts for someone else's dreams and for someone else to exist. And it's when we do that, that is when we become attuned to another, connecting in ways that perhaps we never thought possible. That's when we begin to know someone better than perhaps they know themselves. And that's when someone helps us to achieve dreams that alone, I think maybe we would have been too afraid to chase on our own. Tell me, do you remember what Abraham and Sarah choose to name their miraculous baby son? Isaac. And what do we translate Isaac as in English? Laughter. When God told Sarah that she was to have a child, Sarah laughed to herself. She laughed because she was scared to admit the possibility of something that had been denied to her for so very long, the possibility of having a child. But Abraham saw and felt her fear, and he encouraged his wife, his love, to dream the impossible. But together they would traverse the unknown, and together they just might be able to laugh through fear, to laugh with wonder, and to laugh in delight. And so this morning, I think the first step towards any healthy relationship, make some room. Make some room to see someone for whom they truly are, and perhaps just as difficult for many of us, make some room to let ourselves be seen. Be it partner or parent or friend, when we actively seek to see and understand someone we love, that's when we follow in the footsteps of our ancestors, when we follow in the footsteps of Abraham and Sarah, the ones who teach us that we need not run from ourselves, and together, hearts shifting to make room for another, we just might be able to run towards that which makes us smile, and all the more so, run towards that which makes us laugh. Shabbat Shalom.